Welcome to my channel. My name is Rectoral. I know normally I put out stupid dumb videos. Today I wanted to put out a video that's a bit more in my professional wheelhouse, especially with the wipe coming from Tarkov soon. There's a lot of people who play Tarkov and it runs like crap on their computers. The game is unoptimized, so ultimately it is a bit of a problem sometimes to actually keep it running well. There's things and steps you can take to take care of this. Obviously, the easy answer is if you are having a lot of issues with Tarkov to just reformat your computer. And what I'm going to be talking about today specifically is only with Windows computers, and this might be a bit different if you're on like a Windows 7 rig. There's some different tools that I won't necessarily go over, but this is going to be specifically for Windows 10 users. This is something that gets overlooked a lot. There's a lot of people that don't know how to do it. When you're in your launcher here, one of the things you can do is down here is clear cache, and we can do an integrity check run. So both these things are pretty easy. Clear cat, you don't do integrity checks a lot, but if you are having issues, it isn't a bad thing to do. But clearing cache takes a second. All it does is takes all these stored images that your computer is optimizing for Tarkov and effectively deletes them. So next time you load up Tarkov, it's going to re-optimize those images. So you might have a bit of a delay, you might have a bit of a shock when you first load into Tarkov, but you'll be mostly fine. It's something you should do routinely. I generally do mine every time Tarkov patches. So the next thing we're going to go into is we're going to talk about how to clear out your temporary folders. This is also something people have trouble with. All we're going to do is go down to your run bar here, your start bar, type %temp%. This opens your temporary folder. And we're going to make sure we close out the Tarkov launcher for this. We're just going to select anything in here, press Control A on your keyboard, press delete. There's another way to do this. Anything that doesn't allow you to delete it, just skip. It just means it's open in a program somewhere. And this is going to clear out your temporary folder. Again, kind of doing the same thing we just did with Tarkov with clearing out the cache, but for your actual computer. The next thing we're going to talk about is a program called ISLC. It's called Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. You can read about it, but effectively this application will monitor and clear the memory standby list according to the configured operations you set. If you don't know what a memory standby list is, it's your computer going, hey, we're going to put things in a list to take up your RAM, which if you are somebody who plays Tarkov, you can understand the importance of having access to as much RAM as possible. So what we're going to do is once you download this program, all you got to do that is click the image, click here for download and support. Once it's installed and running on your computer, you should have an option like this. We want to make sure that start ISLC minimized and auto start monitoring, and we want to make sure launch ISLC on user logon. Make sure both of those are checked on. These are what I set mine to, which is 1024. So, most likely when you start, you're going to see this might be set to like 1 or something. I would switch it to 0.5. Just runs it a few extra clicks, and for Tarkov I think that's important, which means you'd want to check on the enabled custom timer resolution, because if you check this off, this will not work. And this might be different. I run a polling rate of 500 ms, and that's all you have to do. You will never have to worry about this program ever again. Now, I'm a couple versions behind, so I could come in and download this. Let's say you don't think ISLC is running. You start up your computer and you go, I don't see a program. Where is it? You just click this little bar in the bottom, and right here you see this. It'll tell you that it is up and running. You can double left click it. It'll pull it up in case you want to change any settings. A Windows update as well. So down here in the bottom, we are going to click on, we're just going to type Windows. You can type Windows Update. I know some people go, I don't like the Windows updates. If you don't want to run Windows updates on your computer, that's your prerogative. I would always make sure you are up to date on Windows. Same thing with your drivers. NVIDIA users, just make sure you come down here, right click into your NVIDIA, click NVIDIA GeForce Experience. You could also beat it up through your search bar if that's how you choose, or if you have a icon on your desktop, which I do up here. And just go to drivers, and this will tell you have a new driver. I haven't updated drivers in 5 days. That's on me. I should update and do this. So we're just going to press download, and this is going to download pretty quickly and install. We might have an issue with the recording while it's installing a driver because it's a video driver and we're recording. The next thing we're going to go over is we have a bunch of little things we're going to do. One of them is called a clean boot. This one is actually really easy to do. I'm going to put a link in the description below to the Microsoft page that goes over this. And I can actually just pull it up. In case you don't know how to do this, this walks you through step by step how to do a clean boot. So we just go to the start menu here. We're going to type in msconfig. You don't even need to type it all. It'll pull up this. Once you're in system configuration, right, we're going to go to services. We're going to hide all Microsoft services. This is going to pop up a bunch. Now, I have some checked on right now. If you're doing a true clean boot, you would just disable all of these. I have some of them on because I need them for streaming and recording and stuff like that. But effectively, I want all of these services stopped when I go to reboot my computer. And as we scroll down here, you see this is what they're telling you to do. Just check all, hide all services, click disable all. We're going to go to startup. It's going to ask you to open Task Manager. You could also just right click Task Manager, or however you want to open it. We're going to go into startup, and effectively all of these you want to right click and disable. If they're already disabled, it'll say enable. You can turn these back on if you want. I leave them turned off by default. If I need something booted up on my computer, I'll boot it up myself. When you restart your computer, everything's going to be fine. You're going to need to, if you are using if you're using NVIDIA and you checked it off, for example, I believe AMD is probably going to have some stuff too. You're going to want to go back through and check some of these services back on. NVIDIA, especially if you were using an NVIDIA card. And then obviously I use a audio service as well, so I need to have that checked on. You can check all of these back on after you reboot if you really want to, but I would try and play around and debate on which ones you need, which ones you don't. For example, BattlEye, right? BattlEye boots up by default on your computer as a service. You do not need it running in the background unless you are playing a program that wants you to use BattlEye. So when I boot up Tarkov, for example, BattlEye will boot up because they use it. But while I'm not playing Tarkov, why the hell do I need BattlEye running on my something computer? That I think a lot of people don't do either. We're going to go into power and sleep settings. So you can just type power mode down here. You type power and sleep settings. Doesn't matter. There's a couple other ways to get here too. And sleep. You're going to click on additional power settings. You're going to click choose what the power buttons do. Most likely these are going to be grayed out for you. You're just going to click change settings that are currently unavailable. If you're not the administrator on your computer, you're not going to be able to do this. And if this is checked on, you want to check this off. I have serious issues with Windows 10 and Microsoft, for whatever reason, putting this on by default. This effectively does not clear out your CPU when you turn off your computer. So the only way your CPU gets cleared out is if you restart your computer. So if you're somebody who is in the general habit of clicking shutdown instead of clicking restart, you're actually not ever really clearing out your CPU. Don't understand it from a design perspective, but I would turn this off if you're somebody who shuts down your computer more than restarts. If you're somebody who just restarts all the time and never shuts it down, this isn't going to affect you. The next thing we're going to do here, there's a bunch of commands I have pulled up. Don't worry about writing them down. They're all going to be in the description below. These are going to take some time, especially this one, and this one, right? These are all gonna take a little bit of time. So we're gonna open a program called Powershell. This is basically a fancy command prompt, or if anybody is from the DOS days that doesn't know about Powershell, this is a fancy version of DOS too. It's a way you can just input commands into your computer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure we run that as administrator. If you don't have it for whatever reason up there, you can just type power here, type Powershell down here in case you don't see, the power thing, and we can just fully type PowerShell. It'll pop up, just right click it, or you can click right here, run as administrator. We're going to take this SFC scan, we're going to copy, we're going to paste it, and it's going to start checking our Windows files. So this one is going to take our Windows files, our system files, what tells our computer how it's supposed to run and what its operating system is, and it's going to check it against itself and do effectively like an integrity check, just like we would do with Tarkov, or if you've ever done with like a Steam game. But this is for your actual computer itself. One of the things I also try to always tell people is, and you can see my uptime is pretty low, this is a very important number to worry about that a lot of people do not. It's a good indicator of when should I restart my computer, and when should I shut down my computer. If you're playing Tarkov and at any point your uptime is in the days, you should restart your computer. There are people who play this game that don't restart their computer for 3, 4, 5 days at a time. I've looked at, I'm like, they're like, oh, my computer's slow. I'm like, all right, boot up Task Manager. What's your uptime? You know, they're like 47 days or something. And I'm like, you guys got to restart your computer. Again, that goes into that power option I talked about before. If you notice you have a high uptime, you might want to do that power saving trick I talked about earlier, where you change your shutdown key to actually clear this out as well. This will not be cleared out, and this uptime will stay the same if you just shut down your computer. We're going to run this, and I guarantee we're probably getting an error message, which is fine, right? It's going to tell you the type of the file system is NTFS. You cannot lock the current drive, and check this cannot run because the volume is used by another process. If you get this when you have this happen, just press Y and enter. And next time you reboot your computer, which we're going to do after we're done doing all of this, it's going to run a check disk. Effectively in the same way we just did Windows system file checks, this is your hard drive and your disk checking itself for any corruption and any... it's like taking a shower, right? It's like taking a shower. It's just cleaning the disk out of any extra little tiny pieces of filth that might be in there. Once we're going to do a DISM check. There is a faster way you could do this, right? And again, you might do some of these, and like it says, no component store corruption detected. We're still going to do a few other things, and sometimes you may be like, nothing happened. Nothing happened when I did this one. It's perfectly fine. And if you're still running into issues and your rig is in spec requirements for Tarkov, you might want to consider doing a actual reformat. All right, like you said, like this one says, there's no component store corruption. Again, I've done this recently too, like within about a month, so I'm not expecting these to pop any issues. Successful. We did restore. There was nothing corrupted, so we don't really need to do it, but we're doing it just to kind of do it. You want to make sure you do these in this order too. Oh, so there was a package that got reclaimed. All right, that's awesome. So if we run this, it should, in theory, clean up a component. So there's a component. Basically, what this is saying is we're going to recommend that you run this. If for whatever reason this says component store cleanup recommended no, you don't need to run this. You could run this through command prompt. You don't have to use it through PowerShell. I enjoy using PowerShell, but this can be accomplished using, if you don't have PowerShell on your computer, you're like, I don't know what PowerShell is, it's command prompt. So you could also open command prompt and run this as an administrator. If you're not an administrator on your computer, if you have a shared computer especially, you might not have access to PowerShell, you might not be able to run command prompt, you're probably not going to be able to do any of this. The next program we're going to go over is a program called Treesize. I will put a link in the description below. There's a free version of this, there's a paid version of it. If anybody has used WinRAR, for example, same concept. There's a paid version and a free version. The free version is for personal use and anything you're going to manage for. The only reason you would need a paid version is if you have a lot of virtual drives for whatever reason. So let's say we want to manage my C disk, right? I like using this because what this is going to tell me is where all of my space is going, right? So it's telling me, you know, Battle State Games, for example, only takes up 26.2 gigabytes, right? Which is a very nominal amount of this drive, but most of it is in program files. And unsurprisingly, most of it is in Steam. Most of it is in my Steam games. Now, something that's interesting right here is Steam doesn't always clear stuff out from here for you, and occasionally cache files can build. And it's never a bad idea to kind of just have this program. In my opinion, it makes it very easy to look around in your files, Treesize, you know, versus let's see how I would do it here, right? Like we're clicking around. How would I tell without right clicking and going into properties which drive is the biggest? Plus it has to sit here and actually calculate it, right? And you have to do that for each file structure. So I would have to bear down on the drive. Right here does it all real quick, and you have a lot of options in it too. That is the tech side of the tutorial. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Tarkov Wipe. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I will try my best. I worked in IT for quite a while as a systems administrator. I know a few things. I don't know everything. And if you have any questions about Tarkov, I enjoy Tarkov too. Or if you have any questions about me or anything else, leave a comment. I'd appreciate if you guys push this video out because people seem to be having a lot of trouble with technical issues in Tarkov and solving them. And I think one of the worst things you can have happen when playing a video game is just these tech issues, right? You're crashing all the time, your game doesn't load, your disk doesn't spin, whatever. and it just ruins the flow and vibe of a game, especially if you're playing with a group. There's nothing, and there's no worse feeling when you're the one having the issue. It's like somebody going like, hey, your mic sucks, and you go, all right, cool, how do I deal with that, right? And if somebody is willing to just sit down with you for 2 minutes, we can have an enjoyable evening together. Send this to your friend if they're complaining about Tarkov running like crap. You know, if you're playing with somebody that maybe has some issues, this is a good video to send them if they have a Windows computer, specifically Windows 10, which I believe predominantly most gamers have. There is a Tarkov wipe coming. I'm going to put a link to OnePeg's video in the description below. You can go to him to why he thinks the wipe's happening. He's more knowledgeable about the Tarkov stuff than I am, and he's a great resource that I use to kind of get that information. I do sometimes validate against him with stuff, but he's a good resource for that kind of stuff. I'm very excited for the wipe. I'm very excited for the channel for the wipe. I don't know what's going to happen. I stream a lot over on Twitch. You're more than welcome to come join me. Right now, my schedule is a bit sporadic, but I do make sure I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I am switching up my stream schedule a little bit as I'm starting to learn when and more my audience comes online. Typically, I start streaming sometime in the afternoon, and I stream well into the evening. It'd be cool if you stop by, come out. If you have a, if you have an Amazon Prime sub, feel free to, just drop by and give me that free Twitch Prime. Hopefully this works for you. Hopefully this helps you out, and have a good day.